violating journalistic integrity. And I'll say this, NPR, you have been far worse at this. You're a rabid progressive. And do you not think it's a problem that your political leanings make it seem to the American people that you're not biased and you're not doing your job? Because you agree that your job is to have journalistic integrity, right?
Absolutely, but there's a strong firewall between the newsroom and anything that I
Let's talk about the newsroom. You have 87 registered Democrats, not a single Republican in your editor boards. I mean, how does that work to give us the perception that you're doing your job of actually delivering unbiased information?
Well, I would agree with you that that number is a concern if it is accurate. I do believe that we need to have journalists who represent the full breadth of the American society so that we can report well for all Americans.
Well, I think that you are failing. I realize you've only been there for a year, but I just really think that while it is a small portion of your budget, you very much should expect to restructure your revenue streams, because I don't think that NPR is necessarily worth saving. And I'm going to go on to Ms. Kerger. But I want to ask you a very simple question. In retrospect, do you think that it was inappropriate to put the drag queen on the kids show? Do you think that was a mistake?
The drag queen was actually not on any of our kids' shows. The image that Chairman Taylor Greene showed was from a project that our New York City station did with the New York City Department of Education.
What time of day did it air?
It did not air. It was a digital project they did for the Department of Education.
Do you think
it only appeared on our website?
Anything to do with PBS? Do you think that human? I mean, do you see?
It was not a PBS. It was not for PBS. It was mistakenly put on our website by our, I'm sorry, I don't mean to talk over you. It was mistakenly put on our website by our New York City station. It was not intended for national distribution. It was immediately pulled down. It was never broadcast.
Do you think?
Now, you just clear as day heard the CEO of PBS state that no transgender show ever aired in any kids' television shows at all. As a matter of fact, it was just something created, thrown in the tank, and it had nothing to do with coming out as far as for their network targeting children. Now, what you're going to see in this video is that under oath in sworn testimony, the PBS CEO lied, and Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to call her out. Now, Congressman Timmons did a really good job during this question. And as you heard in the beginning, NPR, which is another far left-leaning media outlet that is also being subsidized by the federal government to the tunes of tens of millions of dollars. Did you hear that NPR literally has 87 Democrats on staff, 0 conservatives on their staff, but yet want the public to believe that they're not politically biased? These people are so disingenuous. And when they're called out and they're put on Front Street, they're exposed. Now, what you're going to see in this clip from Marjorie Taylor Greene is a masterclass of taking somebody with a pompous attitude that seems like they can do no wrong and they have that backing and support of that Democrat wing. She's going to show them that that foundation is broken. That Democrat stronghold that they had with those slush funds at USAID and all of this other backhanded, backwards ways that they've been financing hit pieces on other politicians, sicking district attorneys on political opponents. And we find out that our public broadcasting network is also an extension. But the scary thing about that is they were targeting our children. And I grew up on PBS and I saw it as a harmless network that really got their money off just donations and fundraising from the public. But it is not true. And as you're going to see in this video, she's going to get called out and taken to task by Marjorie Taylor Greene in a masterful way. So check out this clip. And by the way, if you're looking at this, do me a solid, hit that like button. I'll never ask for a cash app or a super chat, but you hitting that like button is extremely beneficial. And subscribe to the Real Politics Podcast if you hadn't. But check this clip out.
I think from what we have heard here today, the American people will not continue to allow such propaganda to be funded through the federal government with their hard-earned tax dollars. The Corporation for Public Broadcasting that we give over $500 million to no longer serves the public. It serves a narrow audience of wealthy, liberal elites who are out of touch with everyday Americans. Not only have the times changed and the American people who once needed these outlets can now access the news anywhere at any time, but the content that is being put out through these state-sponsored outlets is so radical, it is brainwashing the American people and, more significantly, American children with un-American, anti-family, pro-crime fake news. The American people do not support their taxpayer dollars going to NPR articles like, "How is sex determined? Scientists say it's complicated." which discusses how biological sex is not limited to male or female. Or another article about how stories on crime are rife with misinformation and racism, or about how birds and trees are racist. Over a 7-month period, the Media Research Center discovered the PBS NewsHour gave over 90% of the airtime to the left on gender ideology stories, 90%.
And we wonder why our children, it seems like our little boys are acting a lot more feminine and our girls are acting more masculine. Why these children seem more confused and why they truly believe that the body they were born in, that they can just flip a script and switch out of it. And it's from the programming from these networks like PBS. So if you have children and, you know, we all thought Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers and all of these great things that came through that network, it has changed. And they use these same shows, whether it be Sesame Street and some of these other ones and all of these bright colors and these characters that look really silly. But when you start paying attention to what they're saying and the subliminal messaging that's coming through these shows, it is mind-blowing.
Mentioned earlier, PBS was the outlet that featured the child predator drag queen on the education show for kids ages 3 to 8 years old. And to clarify the record, because our witness, Ms. Kerger, lied under oath and said it wasn't featured on PBS, this show was aired on PBS on April 1st, 2021. And we will take a look at this video right now. We're using a TV today because our audio system is having problems.
Hey, in the comments, do me a favor. Let me ask you, do you believe that these outlets should be defunded completely, or should we continue to finance PBS because it is such a staple as far as in American culture? It's been around so long. And back in the day, it really did do some good things. Should we discontinue funding that, or should we continue to support it and just put some really tight stipulations? Put it in the comments. Put yes if we should keep funding it. Put no if you feel like we should no longer fund it at all. Put yes if yeah, we should continue funding it with some stipulations. No if you don't think we should.
Let's go ahead and watch this video.
So, get your singing voices ready. And we're going to start with our hips. The hips on the drag queen go swish, 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 swish. The shoulders on the drag queen go shimmy, 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 shimmy. Blah, 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 blah. The mouth of the drag queen goes blah, 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 all through the town. So, get your singing voices.
The hips go swish, swish, swish. The shoulders go shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. That's repulsive.
That was absolutely insane. And did you see the look? Why do people believe that that is like a good thing to look at? A man in a dress with makeup on is some of the most unattractive things I've ever seen in my life. And this was broadcast to children between the ages 3 and 11 using the melody and the cadence of the wheels on the bus go round and round, using that type of melody to seduce children while talking about the shimmy, 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 and the shake, 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 and literally said the mouth on the drag queen goes blah, blah, blah. And this is to children 3 to 11. I believe defund the whole thing. Somebody else can bring up another network. Now watch what Marjorie Taylor Greene does.
That's not what children ages 3 to 8 should ever be watching. A grown biological man posing as a woman. And by the way, Ms. Kerger, that was aired on April 1st, 2021. And then something happened. It wasn't an accident. And it wasn't just for a brief time that it was up. It was aired April 1st. And then somehow it expired May 24th. Later on, it was taken down. I wonder why. Wonder why that was taken down. Another egregious example includes back in 2010, PBS's Travis Smiley stated that Christians blow up people every single day. Haven't seen that ever happen in my life. And today, if you look on NPR's website, there is still zero mention of any negative coverage of any Democrat today. And trust us, there are more than plenty of examples to pull from. How about a member from this committee making fun of the governor of Texas for having a disability and living his life in a wheelchair? Ms. Marr. From headlines to podcasts to documentaries to children's programming, NPR and PBS have all but abandoned their promise to deliver unbiased, nonpartisan, and fact-based reporting. The American people have woken up to this nonsense and blatant disregard for truth, and truth matters. and they will not put up with it any longer. Contrary to the beliefs of the head of NPR, Ms. Marr, truth is not subjective. It's actually very important. And there are not multiple truths. There's just one. For a civilization to exist, objective truth must exist. It must be embraced. It must be protected. It is not a distraction. And despite many attempts to whitewash it, truth will prevail. The Corporation for Public Broadcasting is using taxpayer dollars to actively suppress the truth, suppress diverse viewpoints, and produce some of the most outlandish, ludicrous content. After listening to what we've heard today, we will be calling for the complete and total defund and dismantling of the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
And see, I totally agree with that. And you know, they talked about racist, the racist thing. Do you know they have one about racist trees? PBS did a story on racist trees, and NPR, did you hear her state that there's not one negative article or publication about a Democrat at all? So why in the world would, and listen, people don't have to agree with one side or the other. You don't have to like Republicans. You can hate Republicans or hate Trump. You can love Democrats and love Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, or whatever. But the United States taxpayer should not be funding a biased political agenda by a media outlet that slanders half of the population that is paying for that publication to even exist. And we've been paying their salaries and paying for the slander that they've been giving the other side to the tune of close to $500 million, and it stops. So I just wanted to jump in and bring that information to you and show you that the right side of the aisle is bringing these people to the floor and holding them accountable, but the mainstream media will never show it. So that's why I wanted to bring it to you. And so, hey, listen, and like always, if you enjoyed this video, do me a solid, hit that like button. Remember to share this content, leave a comment, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. And if you've watched it this far, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. As always, I'm Brian Maxwell, and I look forward to seeing you at the top. Over and out, y'all.